Casseroles just might be the ultimate type of dish, considering the sheer number of amazing meals that fall under its category. From quirky mid-century combos to cheese-filled classics, here are 75 casseroles that deserve a comeback. Get ready, because you won't believe what was once in Grandma's recipe book.
Chicken divan has been a popular dish for years and years.
1. Chicken divan. Chicken divan was a posh mid-century staple known for its creamy chicken and broccoli blend, baked to perfection. Created in a New York hotel in the 1930s, this casserole became an iconic family meal in the 50s. Made with tender chicken, blanched broccoli, a cream-based sauce, often mushroom soup, and a generous layer of cheddar, it was finished with a touch of lemon for brightness. Back then, chicken divan was served with elegance, as it combined wholesome ingredients with a rich, indulgent flavor. It was the perfect way to repurpose leftovers and make them shine at the dinner table. This dish was so beloved that it even made it onto special occasion menus, a rare honor for a casserole. Reintroducing this vintage classic might just bring the warmth and sophistication of the past to today's tables. Next up, we have a dish that turned efficiency into an art form.
Today on the Stay-at-Home Chef, I'm showing you how to make tuna casserole.
2. Tuna noodle casserole. The epitome of quick and easy, tuna noodle casserole brought together canned tuna, egg noodles, and peas in a creamy sauce. Emerging as a budget-friendly family favorite in the post-war 40s, it was initially made to stretch pantry staples with a twist. Canned mushroom soup served as the base, creating a velvety coating that clung to each noodle. Some versions even featured a crunchy topping of crushed potato chips or breadcrumbs, adding texture to the soft casserole beneath. Tuna noodle. Casserole's simplicity was its strength. With just a few ingredients, it delivered a hearty, satisfying meal. For many, it was the ultimate childhood comfort food, ideal for cold nights or quick weeknight dinners. Though it may not be as popular now, its legacy as a retro casserole is cherished by those who remember its creamy, savory goodness. Our next dish, as with many others, was made popular by Thanksgiving.
Hey guys, today I'm going to share with you how I make my green bean casserole.
3. Green bean casserole. A Thanksgiving staple that transcended the holiday, green bean casserole was invented in 1955 by Campbell's Soup, but quickly became an all-year-round favorite. You just needed green beans, cream of mushroom soup, and crispy fried onions. Each bite was creamy, crunchy, and packed with savory flavor. This casserole bridged the gap between side dish and comfort food, complementing everything from holiday roasts to weeknight chicken. While it may be more known for its role in Thanksgiving feasts today, green bean casserole once held a place in everyday meals, bringing a touch of indulgence to the table. Its mix of textures and flavors, soft green beans, rich sauce, and crispy onions, was irresistible. Some modern versions add cheese or bacon, but the original simplicity is hard to beat. Now we'll be looking at a dish that's just layers and layers of pure goodness.
Customizable, you can swap out the bread, you can swap out the ham.
4. Ham and cheese strata. Originally designed as a brunch dish, ham and cheese strata became an all-day favorite thanks to its adaptable and flavorful nature. This casserole layers day-old bread, savory ham, and melted cheese in a custard-like mixture of eggs and milk. Each layer absorbs the egg mixture, creating a fluffy, almost soufflé-like texture that's both light and filling. Strata was particularly popular in the 60s, a time when families gathered around for brunch on Sundays or holidays. Its beauty was in its flexibility. You could add veggies, swap in different cheeses, or use whatever leftovers were on hand. Served warm from the oven, ham and cheese strata was a homey dish that symbolized family togetherness. It's still perfect for lazy weekend mornings or holiday breakfasts, even today. Our next dish featured 2 types of corn in its development.
And my favorite was Hamburger Helper Night.
5. A Hamburger Helper casserole. It's quite a challenge to blend the classic casserole with lasagna, but the Hamburger Helper casserole truly makes it look effortless. Picture the incredible flavors of a delicious hamburger incorporated into a traditional casserole, all topped with tater tots, bacon, and cheese. It's absolutely mouth-watering just thinking about it. Imagine a sinful dish that combines pasta, succulent hamburger patties, and a luscious cheesy sauce, all layered and baked to perfection. Indulging in this savory casserole becomes an irresistibly tempting journey as each bite takes you deeper into a realm of gastronomic delight. Regrettably, this dish had an excessive amount of saturated fats and calories, which, if eaten unchecked, was incredibly unhealthy. This, in the end, was what caused the untimely end of the hamburger helper casserole. A generation of Americans that became obsessed with health in the 80s and 90s made the decision to retire the dish before it retired them.
Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be making tamale pie.
6. Tamale pie. A fusion dish from long before fusions became trendy, tamale pie blended Mexican-inspired flavors with a classic casserole form. Featuring seasoned ground beef, tomatoes, corn, and often black beans, it was topped with a cornmeal crust, giving it the feel of a tamale without the hassle. A hearty sprinkle of cheese finished off this baked creation, which emerged in the 40s as a way to bring bold flavors to family tables. Tamale pie was especially popular in the Southwest, where families savored its robust spices and rich textures. This casserole brought warmth and a bit of spice, making it ideal for cozy nights. It offered families an exciting flavor profile that was different from more traditional casseroles and made it possible to enjoy the taste of Mexican food in an all-American form. We'll now take a look at a dish that is as simple as it gets.
I'm going to show you how to make cheesy broccoli cheese rice casserole.
7 cheesy broccoli and rice casserole. As a simple yet satisfying side, cheesy broccoli and rice casserole became popular in the 70s, combining pantry staples into a creamy, hearty dish. A blend of broccoli florets, cooked rice, and cheddar cheese. This casserole also featured cream of mushroom soup to bind everything together. Perfect for stretching ingredients, it became a beloved addition to potlucks and gatherings, serving as a side that felt like a meal. Each bite was rich, cheesy, and packed with texture, and the tender broccoli gave a pop of color that brightened the dish. Easy to prepare and versatile, cheesy broccoli and rice was a weeknight hero and a holiday favorite. Its simplicity was key, making it a comfort food that brought families together with a taste everyone could love. Next, we have a dish that employed meatballs.
Today I'm going to show you how to make juicy, flavor-packed Swedish meatballs.
8 Swedish meatball casserole. Drawing from Scandinavian tradition, Swedish meatball casserole combined the flavors of Swedish meatballs with a creamy noodle base. Ground beef, breadcrumbs, and spices formed tender meatballs that were baked in a rich, creamy sauce with egg noodles. A hint of nutmeg added warmth to this dish, making it perfect for chilly nights. Popular in the 50s and 60s, this casserole transformed Swedish meatballs into a full, satisfying meal that offered a taste of Europe. For families craving something different from typical American fare, this casserole was a delicious change. Each forkful brought a mix of meat, noodles, and savory sauce, creating a cozy, home-cooked flavor that felt both familiar and exotic. Swedish meatball casserole remains a go-to dish for many who remember its taste. The next dish on our list is an acquired taste.
I'm gonna show you how to make shepherd's pie.
9 Shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie is a true classic, originally born in Britain, but adopted and adored by American families. Made with ground beef or lamb, carrots, peas, and onions, it's topped with creamy mashed potatoes and baked until golden. It's a one-dish meal that brings layers of flavor and comfort to the table. Shepherd's pie became particularly popular in the post-war years, when stretching ingredients and using leftovers were essential. The mashed potato topping forms a fluffy, slightly crispy crust, while the filling remains savory and tender. Each bite delivers a hearty taste that warms from within. Shepherd's pie is as comforting today as it was then, evoking memories of hearty meals and cozy family dinners. Its simplicity and satisfying nature keep it relevant, making it a timeless casserole favorite. Let's take a peek at another recipe that was ahead of its time.
By the end of this video, you're gonna be a pro at making baked ziti. It is so easy.
10 baked ziti. Long before pasta bakes became a thing, baked ziti was a beloved casserole that brought Italian flavors to the American kitchen. Combining ziti pasta with marinara sauce, mozzarella, and ricotta, this dish was easy to make, filling, and packed with cheesy goodness. Originating as a family-friendly Italian-American dish, baked ziti became popular in the 70s, providing a homemade pasta option that was both simple and delicious. The ricotta added creaminess, while a topping of mozzarella melted to golden perfection. For families craving the taste of Italy, baked ziti was a way to enjoy restaurant flavors at home. Each scoop delivered tangy tomato sauce, gooey cheese, and tender pasta, making it a crowd pleaser at gatherings and weeknight dinners alike. Baked ziti's enduring popularity proves it's a classic comfort food worth remembering. We will now turn our eyes to a dish your doctor would probably frown at.
How to make one of my favorites, cheeseburger casserole.
11 Cheeseburger casserole. A nostalgic favorite, this dish took the best parts of a cheeseburger, juicy beef, gooey cheese, and that classic pickle tang, and turned it into a comforting, family-friendly dish. Ground beef was cooked with onions and seasoned, then mixed with pasta, usually elbow macaroni, and a creamy cheese sauce. Often made with cheddar or a blend of cheeses, the sauce melts into the pasta, coating every bite with creamy, savory goodness. Some variations added mustard or ketchup to enhance the burger-like flavors, while pickles or even crispy fried onions on top provide a satisfying crunch and a bit of acidity to balance the richness. Baked until and golden, the cheeseburger casserole was a delicious, sliceable version of a beloved classic. Our next dish has relations to a convenience store classic.
And today, we're going to show you how we make our favorite baked mac and cheese.
12. Macaroni and cheese bake. The macaroni and cheesy bake was a classic comfort dish that took the timeless appeal of stovetop mac and cheese and transformed it into a golden casserole. The macaroni is cooked just until al dente, then enveloped in a rich, creamy sauce made from a mixture of sharp cheddar, Gruyere, or even Velveeta for an ultra-smooth texture. Some recipes call for a touch of Dijon mustard or a pinch of nutmeg, adding depth to the cheese sauce's flavor. Before baking, the dish is often topped with buttery breadcrumbs or crushed crackers, which crisp up in the oven, adding a delightful textural contrast to the creamy pasta below. As it bakes, the cheese sauce thickens, and the top layer forms a cheesy, golden crust, making every forkful an indulgent bite. The next dish employs a technique usually seen in street food: stuffing.
Today I'm gonna show you how to make unstuffed cabbage rolls.
13. Stuffed cabbage casserole. This dish reimagined traditional stuffed cabbage rolls in a much simpler, casserole-friendly format. It layered ground beef or pork with shredded cabbage, cooked rice, and a savory tomato sauce, creating a deconstructed version of the classic. The cabbage softens in the oven, absorbing the flavors of the meat and sauce, while the rice adds heartiness, turning this into a filling, complete meal. The tomato sauce, often seasoned with garlic, onion, and herbs like dill or parsley, melds with the other ingredients, giving each bite a tangy, satisfying taste. Topped with a sprinkle of parmesan or breadcrumbs, this casserole bakes to a soft, hearty dish that's easier to prepare than its rolled counterpart, but every bit as delightful. Next up, we have a beef dish for the ages.
Fast meal to make, we're gonna make a ground beef stroganoff casserole.
14. Beef stroganoff casserole. A twist on the Russian classic, beef stroganoff casserole combined the creamy, savory flavors of beef stroganoff with the ease of a one-pan dish. Tender strips of beef were cooked with mushrooms and onions, then mixed with egg noodles and a rich, tangy sauce made from sour cream, beef broth, and sometimes a touch of Dijon mustard for extra flavor. The egg noodles soak up the sauce as it bakes, becoming tender and flavorful. Often topped with a sprinkle of cheese or breadcrumbs, this casserole bakes to a golden finish, giving a slight crunch that contrasts beautifully with the creamy noodles below. It's a flavorful casserole that brings the essence of stroganoff to the table without the fuss of stovetop preparation. What's the perfect follow-up to beef? Some seafood, so our next dish has some in it.
Because today I'm going to make for you a shrimp and grit casserole.
15. Shrimp and grits casserole. Taking inspiration from the southern favorite, the shrimp and grits casserole combined creamy, buttery grits with succulent shrimp and a touch of Cajun spice. The grits were cooked until smooth and creamy, often enriched with cheese for added depth, then poured into a baking dish. The shrimp, seasoned with spices like paprika, cayenne, and garlic, was arranged on top of the grits, allowing the flavors to mix as the casserole bakes. Some versions include a layer of crispy bacon or a sprinkle of scallions for added texture and flavor. As it bakes, the shrimp becomes tender and juicy, while the grits take on a rich, savory flavor, making this casserole a delicious, indulgent southern treat. Next, we have a dish whose roots lie in Italy.
And today we're making our favorite 3-cheese lasagna.
16. Lasagna casserole. This amazing dish was a simplified take on the Italian classic, with all the layers of flavor but less time-intensive assembly. Instead of carefully layering noodles, sauce, and cheese, this casserole mixes pasta with marinara sauce, ricotta or cottage cheese, and mozzarella, creating a lasagna that's both hearty and satisfying. Ground beef or sausage adds depth, while a generous layer of mozzarella on top melts into a golden finish. The marinara sauce seeps into the pasta, infusing every bite with rich tomato flavor, while the cheese provides that creamy, indulgent lasagna experience. This casserole is a great choice for family gatherings, offering the flavors of lasagna in a simpler, quicker format. Our next dish is one with an alter ego.
This hash brown casserole is one of my favorite guilty pleasures. It goes by the name of funeral potatoes.
17 potato casserole, funeral potatoes. Also known as funeral potatoes, this dish had a humble origin as a delicious casserole often served at gatherings. Shredded potatoes were combined with sour cream, cheddar cheese, and cream of chicken soup, creating a creamy, savory mixture. The casserole was topped with buttery breadcrumbs or crushed cornflakes, which baked to a crunchy, golden crust that contrasted with the creamy potatoes below. Funeral potatoes are both rich and light, with a slight tang from the sour cream and the savoriness of the cheese. They're an iconic potluck dish in the Midwest and southern regions, cherished for their flavors and simplicity. We will now look at a veteran dish from the breakfast table. Is a potato-based hot dish or casserole popular in the American Intermountain West and Midwest? Funeral potatoes are a popular dish often served at after-funeral dinners, but they are also a staple at potlucks and social gatherings. Known by other names like hash brown casserole, this dish typically does not include onions or ham. To prepare it, you will need a package of hash browns, a can of cream of chicken soup, some sharp or extra sharp cheddar cheese, a stick of butter, cornflakes, and sour cream. Start by heating the hash browns and cream of chicken soup with a dash of milk on low. In a storage bag, combine half of the cornflakes with the butter and crush them together. Stir the hash browns and soup mixture, gradually adding in the cheese. After mixing, remove it from the heat and fold in most of the sour cream along with some ranch seasoning, salt, and pepper to taste. Generously butter a casserole or lasagna dish. Pour in the hash brown mixture and top with the remaining cornflakes. Bake at 350 or 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, or until the cornflakes are crispy. For added flavor, consider including seasonings like Tony Chachere's, taco seasoning, or carne asada.
Today I'm going to show you how to make the best breakfast casserole.
18 breakfast casserole. This dish was a morning favorite that combined up bread cubes, breakfast sausage, and cheese with an egg and milk mixture, baked until golden and fluffy. The bread soaks up the egg mixture, becoming custardy inside, while the top remains slightly crisp. Sausage adds a savory note, while the cheese melts to creamy perfection. Often seasoned with herbs like parsley or chives, this casserole is perfect for feeding a crowd. Variations might include bell peppers or onions for added flavor and texture, and the dish can be prepped the night before, making it ideal for holiday mornings. Each bite delivers the satisfying flavors of a full breakfast in a single dish. Next up, we have something a little fit for Red Riding Hood.
Chicken, mushroom, and wild rice casserole.
19 chicken and wild rice casserole. The chicken and wild rice casserole was a wholesome mix of earthy wild rice and tender chicken in a creamy, savory base. The wild rice brought a nutty, slightly chewy texture that was a beautiful contrast to the tender shredded chicken, creating a dynamic and satisfying mouthfeel. Often seasoned with garlic, onions, and herbs like thyme or rosemary, this casserole was fragrant and flavorful. Some variations added mushrooms, whose umami depth enhanced the dish's heartiness, while the creamy sauce, often made from a blend of chicken broth and cream or cream of mushroom soup, envelops every grain of rice and every piece of chicken in comforting richness. It's an ideal choice for colder months, delivering warmth in every bite, and it's a dish that allows for endless customization. Let's now shift our attention to some Mexican favorites with this next dish.
How to make a quick, easy, and super delicious chicken enchilada casserole.
20 enchilada casserole. Enchilada casserole was the ultimate Tex-Mex comfort food, delivering all the flavors of traditional enchiladas without the time-consuming process of individually rolling each tortilla. Layers of corn tortillas are interwoven with a robust filling made from seasoned ground beef or shredded chicken, onions, black beans, and plenty of melted cheese. The dish is typically drenched in a rich, spicy enchilada sauce, which infuses each layer with a tangy and slightly smoky flavor. Some versions incorporate green chilies for extra spice, while others add a layer of sour cream or crema for creaminess. As it bakes, the tortillas soften, absorbing the enchilada sauce and creating a lasagna-like texture. The result is a beautifully layered, ooey-gooey casserole, with each scoop bringing a fusion of spicy, savory, and cheesy goodness that enchilada lovers crave. The next dish has nearly equal levels of healthiness and decadence.
We are making a Swiss vegetable casserole.
21 Swiss vegetable medley. Swiss vegetable medley was a casserole that blended a mix of colorful, tender vegetables with creamy, cheesy layers, creating a sophisticated side dish. Broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and zucchini are popular choices. The vegetables are coated in a heavy sauce made from a blend of sour cream and cream of mushroom soup, and sometimes with a touch of Swiss cheese or Gruyere for a distinctively nutty, tangy profile. This casserole is topped with a crunchy layer of buttered breadcrumbs or crispy fried onions, adding a satisfying texture to every bite. As it bakes, the cheese melts into the sauce and the vegetables tenderize, absorbing all the flavors. This dish exemplifies classic vegetable casseroles that bring elegance and heartiness to holiday meals and family dinners alike. Next up, we have another potato dish.
I'm going to show you how I make my sausage, peppers, onions, and potato bake.
22 Keilbasa and potato casserole. Keilbasa and potato casserole was a hearty, stick-to-your-ribs kind of dish that brought together the rich, smoky flavor of Keilbasa sausage with the texture of potatoes. Cubed potatoes are parboiled to soften them slightly, then mixed with sliced Keilbasa, bell peppers, onions, and a creamy sauce made with a combination of sour cream, cheese, and cream of mushroom soup. Sometimes, spicy mustard or a touch of paprika is added for an extra kick of flavor. The casserole is baked until the potatoes are soft and the cheese is melted and with a golden, crisp top. Each spoonful delivers a savory blend of smoky sausage, tender potatoes, and creamy sauce, perfect for cold nights when you need something warm and filling. Here we go again with another dish featuring Italian roots.
Today, I'm going to show you how I make everybody's favorite pizza casserole.
23 Pizza casserole. Pizza casserole was an innovative twist on everyone's favorite Italian-American meal, delivering the flavors of pizza in casserole form. Layers of cooked pasta, seasoned ground beef or Italian sausage, pizza sauce, and plenty of mozzarella cheese made up the core of this dish. The casserole was topped with classic pizza toppings like pepperoni, mushrooms, and bell peppers, adding extra bursts of flavor. As it bakes, the cheese melts and browns, creating a gooey, stretchy top layer reminiscent of a classic pizza slice. The pasta base soaks up the marinara sauce and spices, giving each bite that savory, comforting pizza taste, while the toppings add layers of texture. This family-friendly casserole is perfect for pizza lovers who want a new way to enjoy their favorite flavors. We now take a trip to the Mediterranean with our next selection on this list.
Let me show you how to make Musaka, which is a popular dish that originates from Greece.
24 Musaka. Musaka was a Mediterranean classic, rich with layers of eggplant, ground meat, usually lamb or beef, and a creamy bechamel sauce. Originating in Greece, this casserole often included spiced ground lamb, seasoned with cinnamon and allspice, giving it a warm, aromatic flavor that's distinctly Mediterranean. Thinly sliced and fried eggplant serves as the base, providing a soft, slightly smoky layer that complements the meat. The top is crowned with a thick layer of bechamel sauce, enriched with eggs and cheese, which bakes into a golden, custard-like crust. Each slice of moussaka offers a balance of textures and flavors: the creamy bechamel, the savory meat, and the tender eggplant, all melding together in a dish that's luxurious and comforting. Like most things French, our next dish is incredibly delicious.
Today we're making my easy-baked French toast casserole, which is so yummy.
25 French toast casserole. French toast casserole took the beloved breakfast classic and turned it into a warm, crowd-pleasing dish perfect for brunch. Cubes of day-old bread were soaked in a mixture of eggs, milk, and warm spices like cinnamon and nutmeg, then arranged in a baking dish. Brown sugar and butter are often added, either mixed into the egg batter or as a topping, creating a caramelized layer that seeps into the bread as it bakes. The casserole is baked until the bread is golden and crisp on top, but soft and custardy on the inside. Some versions add fruit like blueberries or a drizzle of maple syrup on top, enhancing the sweetness. Each bite combines the creamy custard-like interior with a slightly crispy top, giving all the comfort of classic French toast with an added elegance. This next dish has the funniest name.
And now for one of our most popular recipes, Husband's Delight Casserole.
26 Husband's Delight. This humorously named dish was a beloved classic casserole layered with rich, savory ingredients designed to please even the pickiest eaters. It would begin with seasoned ground beef, browned with onions and garlic for a deep flavor base. This meat layer was topped with a creamy mixture of sour cream and cream cheese, creating a tangy contrast that cuts through the richness. A final layer of shredded cheddar cheese melted to golden perfection on top, adding a gooey finish. This dish is especially beloved because of its versatility. Served with a slice of garlic bread or a fresh salad, it can be customized endlessly, with some cooks adding green bell peppers, mushrooms, or even olives to the meat layer for extra flavor. Our next dish also includes spring vegetables.
So today I'm going to go over how I make this rustic cornbread dressing.
27 Southern cornbread dressing. The Southern cornbread dressing used to be a staple at Southern holiday tables, especially around Thanksgiving. Unlike traditional stuffing, this dish used crumbled cornbread mixed with onions, celery, and chicken or turkey broth, creating a moist, savory side with a hint of sweetness from the cornbread. Some recipes add sage and other herbs for a warm, aromatic flavor, while others incorporate pieces of sausage or diced chicken for added heartiness. The mixture is baked until golden and slightly crispy on top, with a soft, almost creamy interior. Each spoonful of cornbread dressing brings a medley of textures and flavors, embodying the warmth of Southern family gatherings. Our next dish is one of the best ways to use any leftover turkey you have.
Here's a recipe for turkey tetrazzini from an All Recipes member who notes,
28 turkey tetrazzini. A comforting classic, the turkey tetrazzini was a great way to repurpose leftover turkey, but it was far from just a Thanksgiving afterthought. The dish combined tender chunks of turkey, sautéed mushrooms, and al dente pasta in a creamy sauce that felt almost decadent. You'd start with a roux made from butter and flour, which forms the base of a sauce that blends chicken broth, milk, and a splash of sherry or white wine for depth. After this comes a mix of Parmesan and Swiss cheese, adding a sharp, nutty layer to each bite. Once the sauce thickens, it envelops the pasta and turkey with savory warmth. Just before baking, breadcrumbs and a hint of lemon juice are added to create a golden crust that locks in the creamy goodness below. The finished casserole emerges from the oven with a bubbling, cheesy top and a hearty, creamy filling that's both satisfying and flavorful. It's a perfect blend of textures and tastes. A little tang from the lemon, umami from the mushrooms, and the rich creaminess of the sauce, making it a long-adored comfort food. Let's now talk about a staple Cajun dish.
And tonight I am going to be making keto jambalaya casserole.
29 Jambalaya casserole. Inspired by the bold flavors of Louisiana's Creole and Cajun cuisine, the jambalaya casserole brought together sausage, shrimp, and chicken in a vibrant mix. This one-dish meal starts with sautéed onions, bell peppers, and celery, the holy trinity of Cajun cooking. Smoked sausage, often andouille, is added to the skillet for a smoky undertone, followed by chicken and shrimp for a hearty protein blend. Then comes the rice, absorbing the bold flavors of a spiced tomato-based sauce infused with Cajun seasonings like paprika, thyme, cayenne, and garlic. Some versions even add a touch of hot sauce for extra heat. Once everything is combined, the casserole bakes until the rice is tender and the flavors have melded. Topped with a sprinkle of fresh parsley, jambalaya casserole has a deep, rich flavor that's spicy, smoky, and downright delicious. A taste of the bayou that brings warmth to any table. To close up this round of nostalgic dishes, we bring you another dish that stars potatoes.
Scalloped potatoes, also known as starch lasagna.
30 scalloped potatoes. Scalloped potatoes had elevated simple spuds to a creamy delight. Thinly sliced potatoes were layered in a baking dish with onions and a lush homemade sauce that melded milk, butter, and flour. As the casserole bakes, the sauce thickens, coating each potato slice in a creamy, almost custard-like layer. The top becomes golden and slightly crisp, while the inside remains tender and savory. Some versions add a sprinkling of cheese like cheddar or Gruyere for an extra layer of flavor. A pinch of nutmeg or thyme often seasons the sauce, adding subtle warmth. This dish pairs beautifully with a holiday roast but is just as welcome on a weeknight table, thanks to its rich texture and mild, savory taste that everyone loves.
Welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to make a chicken and wild rice casserole.
31 Chicken and Wild Rice Hot Dish. The dish originates in the upper Midwest region of the United States, where it remains popular. Hot dish, just like most casseroles, is cooked in a single baking dish and served hot. Chicken and wild rice hot dish is a fairly simple dish, elevated above the canned soup variety with a homemade Mornay sauce filled with cream and aged cheese. To create this delicious dish, start by rinsing the rice until the water runs clear. Then soak it in a bowl with water, salt, and a bay leaf before simmering until tender. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and in a skillet, sauté leeks and celery in butter, seasoning with salt and pepper. Stir in flour, then gradually add milk, whisking to avoid lumps. Mix in cream, chicken stock, herbs and spices, followed by cooked chicken and wild rice, plus half the cheese. For the topping, crush crackers with pepper and olive oil. Grease a baking dish, pour in the chicken mixture, top with remaining cheese, and bake for 25 minutes. Afterward, sprinkle the cracker mix on top and bake until golden brown and bubbly, another 25 minutes, and you're all set to enjoy.
Pumpkin season is upon us, and we're making a sweet bechamel and pumpkin casserole.
32. Pumpkin and sweet bechamel casserole. This dish of the Egyptian origin is an extremely simple and satisfying dessert that takes full advantage of the insane flavor that pumpkin provides. It is composed of tender cooked pumpkin pieces that are topped with a creamy bechamel that is usually flavored with vanilla. Baking the assembled dish adds an amazing layer to the top of the bechamel and helps it set up nicely. To make this dessert, firstly, you boil the pumpkin from raw. It will take about 30 minutes for it to fully cook and release its liquids. By the time that happens, the pumpkin will be so soft that it will turn to mush, and while it will still taste good, the dish will be lacking in texture since you'll have two creamy layered textures. The solution to this is to macerate your pumpkin overnight, which will draw out all of the liquid and will reduce the cooking time to about 10 minutes. This way, your pumpkin will be fork tender, but not a fall apart or mashed texture, and once layered with the bechamel, it will contrast nicely. The standard flavoring in this dish is vanilla or vanillin, which works really well, but this could taste much better if you added a dash of the usual pumpkin spices of cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. This Egyptian cuisine offers a unique take on casseroles, just like the next recipe on our list.
Hey, we're talking about an old classic, tater tot casserole.
A traditional tater tot hot dish can feed a crowd with little more than a handful of supermarket staples, a skillet, a baking dish, and a few minutes of your time. Preparing this casserole typically starts with mixing some ground beef with canned or frozen vegetables, then covering it with condensed soup and topping with frozen tater tots. You can either use canned soup or substitute it for scratch sauce. Both are great. Although for all the extra work of making this classic using a scratch sauce, however, it cannot be said that it far exceeds in taste the versions made with either or both canned cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup. On to our next baked exotic dish.
Italian roots to your table. Let's make baked ziti.
34. Baked ziti. This is a casserole with ziti pasta and a Neapolitan-style tomato sauce. It is characteristic of the Italian-American cuisine. It's a lot like a classic lasagna casserole, but easier to make and without lots of layers or broken noodles. It makes for a perfect midweek or weekend meal, or a hot dish to bring to a potluck. You can even make extra and freeze for later. Typically, the pasta is first boiled separately until it is nearly, but not completely done. The almost cooked pasta is added to a tomato-based sauce. Preheat the oven to 350 or 420 degrees Fahrenheit. The tomato-coated pasta is then combined with cheese, typically a mixture of ricotta, mozzarella, and parmesan. Other ingredients can be added with the cheese, such as ground meat, sausage, mushrooms, peppers, and onions. The combined ingredients are placed in a baking dish covered with mozzarella cheese, baked in the preheated oven for 20 to 45 minutes, and served hot. Our next classic comfort dish uses a dash of global flavors and leftover beef and mashed potatoes to stretch your dollar and fill you up. Talking about filling you up, this next casserole does that like no other.
I love casseroles, so I got to thinking, why not make a pizza casserole?
35. Pizza quinoa casserole. Quinoa is a pantry staple in many houses. It's so versatile and can add protein to any dish, served with salads, as a side dish, or in a casserole. It cooks quickly too, which is always a help come dinner time. This is also a great make-ahead dish for those of you who meal prep. To prepare, rinse quinoa and simmer with water until tender. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees and grease a casserole dish. In a bowl, mix tomato paste, garlic, onion, water, olive oil, and seasonings, then blend in the quinoa. Taste and adjust seasonings, then pour into the baking dish. Top with cheese if desired, and bake for 30 to 35 minutes until golden and bubbly. Finish with nutritional yeast and fresh herbs before serving. If you weren't much of a fan of our previous chicken recipes, our next treat just might be up your alley.
Today we're making chicken tetrazzini. It's a creamy, cheesy pasta baked.
36. Chicken tetrazzini. Tetrazzini is an Italian-American dish made with diced poultry or seafood and in a butter, cream, or milk and cheese sauce flavored with sherry or white wine and combined with linguine, spaghetti, egg noodles, or other types of pasta, sometimes topped with breadcrumbs or cheese, and garnished with parsley or basil. This was a more affordable take on the classic dish. To make it, Start by combining broth, peppers, onions, garlic, and salt and pepper to taste in a large pot and bring to a boil. Add your spaghetti in broken pieces and reduce heat to medium and boil gently. Stir for 12 to 14 minutes. Remove from heat butter, chicken, peas, ketchup, mushrooms, pimentos, and salt and pepper to taste and fold together. Then transfer your cooked spaghetti mixture to a buttered dish and cover with grated cheese. Bake your mixture until golden and bubbly. 30 minutes is just the right amount of time needed. Set the casserole aside to let cool slightly, then serve. An all-time favorite casserole that you must have been expecting is just right around the corner.
Today I'm sharing how to make my cheesy ground beef noodle casserole.
37 Beef and Noodle Casserole. From what we know, the beef and noodle casserole was invented by a military wife in the 1950s, becoming a household name about a decade later, after a bunch of U.S. military wives compiled a collection of their favorite casseroles. To make it, start by searing your seasoned beef up until golden brown for about 5 to 7 minutes. Then add the onion, carrots, and garlic to the pot and cook it until everything is soft. Add the tomato paste and flour to the pot and stir everything till it combines and continue cooking. When it's ready, transfer the whole thing to the oven and cook for about 2 hours. Boil the egg noodles together for about 5 minutes while shredding the beef and stir it into the pot. Lastly, sprinkle some fontina cheese on top of the casserole and put it back in the oven to bake for another 10 minutes. Then sprinkle it with some parsley and it's ready to serve. Talking about high-effort meaty dishes, our next casserole was pretty high up on that list.
This sausage and bean casserole is a great sit-down family meal.
38 Sausage Casserole. Sausage casserole has its roots in the tradition of hearty, one-dish meals, which became popular in Europe and America as a way to stretch ingredients and feed large families economically. To make this, brown the sausages and then drain thoroughly. Add the chopped onion, chopped red and green peppers, sour cream, cream of chicken soup, French onion dip, and shredded cheddar cheese to a mixing bowl. Add the shredded hash brown potatoes and stir until thoroughly combined. Line the bottom of a baking dish with half of the hash brown mixture, then top with the cooked sausage. Grease the dish and top with the remaining sausage and the remaining hash brown mixture. You can then bake the casserole for approximately 1 hour at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or until it is golden brown. This filling and tasty recipe is ideal for potlucks or family get-togethers and is modeled after traditional Southern comfort cuisine.
And a recipe they have been making for a long time, hundreds and hundreds of years, is rapi pie.
39 Rapi Pie. Rapi pie is a traditional Acadian dish whose name comes from the French patate rapis, meaning grated potatoes. A true staple of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick's Acadian communities, it reflects the resourcefulness and culinary traditions of the region. This casserole-like dish involves grated potatoes, carefully wrung out to remove excess moisture, and combined with flavorful broth, meat, and onions to create a hearty and comforting meal. To make rapi pie, begin by grating raw potatoes and squeezing them through cheesecloth to remove as much liquid as possible. Replace the extracted liquid with hot broth, commonly chicken, pork, or seafood, stirring it into the potato mixture. In a greased baking dish, layer the potato mixture with cooked meat such as chicken, beef, or clams, along with sautéed onions. Add a final layer of potatoes on top, then bake in a hot oven for several hours until the top is golden and crispy. Serve hot, traditionally with molasses or a splash of butter for an authentic Acadian touch.
Today, it's time to get excited because we're going to be making the best zucchini slice.
40 Zucchini Slice. Zucchini slice is a dish common in Australia and New Zealand that bears similarities to frittatas and quick breads. It consists of zucchini, eggs, cheese, usually bacon, and flour, baked to form a flat loaf. It is then cut into squares and served as a main dish or a side dish, often eaten for lunch. It is one of a category of similarly named and served dishes common in the region, both sweet and savory, just like our next dish.
Lisa Janney, the All Recipes member who submitted this easy sausage strata recipe, says,
41 Strata. This dish is a savory bread pudding made with day-old French or Italian bread, shredded cheese, cooked meat, and vegetables. Start by tearing the bread into pieces and combining it in a large bowl with the other ingredients. In a separate bowl, whisk together 12 large eggs with your favorite seasonings, then pour this mixture over the bread and gently fold until well coated. Refrigerate for a few hours, then bake at 350 degrees for 50 to 60 minutes until the internal temperature reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit. It can be stored in the fridge for a long time, and the slices freeze well, making it easy to reheat in the microwave. 42 Taco Mac. Taco Mac is a really flexible recipe, but it's always delicious. You would need to cook up a box of noodles and brown some meat, ground beef or turkey with taco seasoning or some chorizo. Strain the noodles and add to the casserole dish. Add an egg, some milk, and cheese or queso dip, even better. Top with a hearty layer of cheese, and if you want, some breadcrumbs or crushed tortilla chips as a final topping. Bake at 350 degrees for 30 to 45 minutes so the egg mixture can casserole up around the noodles. This also freezes well. If you would rather not bake a casserole, then you would love the next recipe. 43 rice casserole. This is a dish you can make on the stove. You would need to add a few cups of rice and water per package directions depending on how much you want to make. Veggies of your choice. Onion, carrots, celery, peppers, mushrooms, zucchini are great options. But whatever, you can also go wild with creativity. Season with garlic, Italian seasoning or Mexican spices, and add a can or two of tomatoes. Add in some ground or shredded meat if you like. Bring to a boil. Reduce to simmer for about 15 minutes or until rice is cooked. This is the easiest recipe so far and also very healthy, just like the next on our list.
The seasoned broccoli combined with the eggs and the cheese, it is like the perfect bite and so easy to make.
44 broccoli casserole. Broccoli casserole is cooked and chopped broccoli mixed with a beaten egg, yellow onions, salt and pepper to taste, of mushroom soup in a baking dish, covered with a layer of sharp cheddar cheese, then crumbled crackers and then some pats of butter over the top. Cook it at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes and it's done. You could definitely cut back on how much cheese you use, or even try a vegan cheese.
Today I'm going to be making turkey and noodle casserole. That's easy to throw together and perfect for when the weather starts turning cool.
45 ground turkey and egg noodle casserole. There are variations of the dish, but basically you saute the meat with onions and garlic and maybe a red pepper or green peas, as well as seasonings. Add the sauce, and then combine with almost all the way cooked egg noodles and bake for 20 minutes. The sauce is traditionally some form of cream soup, either from a can or homemade, but you could easily do it with a simple broth gravy, where you saute some flour with some oil, stirring constantly with a whisk. Cook for a few minutes, and then slowly incorporate broth until you have a thickened sauce.
A classic old-fashioned sweet potato casserole.
46 sweet potato casserole with marshmallows and pecan streusel. With roots in Southern cooking, this dish incorporates ingredients like butter, sugar, and marshmallows, a trend that started in the early 20th century. To prepare, boil sweet potatoes until tender, strain them, and return them to the pot. Mix in vegan butter, cream, brown sugar, cinnamon, and salt, then mash to your desired consistency. Transfer the mixture to a casserole dish, topping it with vegan marshmallows and pecan streusel before baking at 375 degrees for 25 minutes. Keep an eye on the marshmallows to avoid burning. For the pecan streusel, mix dry ingredients, incorporate cold vegan butter into a dough-like texture, add pecans, and fold together. Enjoy!
Hamburger and potato casserole, and it's gonna be mighty fine, I tell you.
47 hamburger casserole. Hamburger casserole was a classic 50s potluck dish. It was just about as popular as hamburgers themselves, and just as tasty. Here's how to make it. In a bowl, add cream of mushroom soup and 1 soup can of water and mix. Then pour that over potatoes and meat. Cover it with grated cheese and bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour. You can make many variations on this. For example, a top layer of sliced zucchini could be great underneath the cheese, diced carrots together with the onions, some herbs like thyme and rosemary, a teaspoon of soy sauce and sliced mushrooms would also be nice. It's an easy recipe, just avoid overcooking the sauce. If you're looking for something a little more spicy, our next casserole would be more for you.
Squash casserole, and when made with tender, sweet, fresh summer squash, it doesn't get any better.
48 spicy squash casserole. Also known as Texas jalapeno squash H casserole, this southern dish was the perfect mix of simplicity and spicy goodness. To make it, all you need is some cooked squash, melted butter, salt, pepper, eggs, chopped onion, grated cheese, cracker crumbs, and cream of mushroom soup. Mix all these ingredients. Pour it in a greased casserole and bake at 375 degrees about 40 minutes, till it's browned and it's ready to serve. 49 Frito pie. Frito pie is a Tex-Mex casserole that blends bolder flavors with simpler ingredients, making it much easier to consider a hallmark of comfort food in the southwestern United States. Originating in Texas, the dish primarily showcases the corn chip crunch, which was often layered with robust chili and crowned with melted cheese. thus making it a favored dish at potlucks and family gatherings. To make Frito pie, take a baking dish and place at the bottom layer corn chips. Then pour over this an even top layer of hearty chili containing ground meat, beans, and seasonings. More shredded cheese is sprinkled on top, and if one likes, more chips can be added too. This is then baked in a preheated oven at medium heat for about 20 minutes or until the cheese bubbles. It is served hot with sour cream, diced onions, or jalapenos as toppings. Next up is an American twist on a European classic.
Easy old-fashioned goulash. This one-pot meal is a family favorite and it's ready in under 45 minutes.
50 American goulash. This dish is a filling one-pot casserole that takes its inspiration from Hungarian goulash, but is modified to include American pantry staples. Common in the Midwest, this dish provides an easy, warm, and nostalgic comfort home taste featuring tender elbow macaroni, ground beef, and a hearty tomato-based sauce. Cook the ground beef in a large skillet or pot until browned, then add the diced onions and garlic and cook until fragrant. Stir in the canned tomatoes, tomato sauce, and seasonings, paprika, oregano, and bay leaves. Add the uncooked macaroni right to the pot. There's enough broth or water added to ensure it cooks as it simmers. When the pasta is cooked through and the sauce has thickened, transfer everything to a baking dish, top with shredded cheese, and bake in a moderate oven for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the cheese has melted and turned golden. 51 King Ranch Chicken. This one-of-a-kind dish is a creamy, Tex-Mex-inspired casserole that combines layers of chicken, tortillas, and a cheesy, spicy sauce. Named after the famous Texas Ranch, this dish is a testament to the state's love for bold flavors and hearty meals. To make King Ranch chicken, cook and shred chicken, then prepare a creamy sauce by mixing canned soups, diced tomatoes with green chilies, and spices like cumin and chili powder. In a greased baking dish, layer torn pieces of tortillas, shredded chicken, and the creamy sauce. Repeat the layers, finishing with a generous topping of shredded cheese. Bake at medium heat for about 40 minutes, or until bubbling and golden on top. Let it cool slightly before serving. 52 Cheesy Chicken and Broccoli Casserole. This creamy blend of chicken, broccoli, and cheddar cheese over rice or pasta, baked to perfection, was popular because of how easy it was to make. Cheesy chicken and broccoli casserole holds a very special place in a lot of American homes, as it is a traditional comfort food. Its beauty lies in its simplicity, versatility, and ability to bring families together around the dinner table. I'm sure you're probably wondering how I make this delectable meal. Well, you start off mixing the cream of the chicken soup with milk and a cup of shredded cheese, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper until it's smooth. Add the cooked chicken, broccoli, and rice or pasta to the bowl, and stir until everything is evenly coated. Sprinkle cheese on top of the food, and bake uncovered for about 20 minutes, or until the casserole is bubbly and the top is golden. There you have it. You have successfully brought back an old-time casserole recipe right into your kitchen.
Have extra holiday ham on hand? Then this casserole is made for you.
53 Ham and Potato Casserole. Ham and potato casserole is a comforting dish rooted in practicality and simplicity. Its origins are not specifically known, but it's suspected to have originated around Europe and America, where leftovers like ham were repurposed with pantry staples such as potatoes, cheese, and cream to create a hearty meal. This casserole became popular in the mid-20th century, a time when casseroles were a go-to for feeding families or entertaining guests due to their ease of preparation and rich flavors. Stir in flour and cook it for a minute. Gradually whisk in milk and cream until thickened and season with salt, pepper, and optional spices. Pour half the sauce over the top, then sprinkle with a cup of cheese and repeat with the remaining ingredients. Cover the dish with foil and bake for 40 minutes. Remove the foil, sprinkle with the remaining cheese, and bake uncovered for an additional 20 minutes till it's golden and bubbly. Wait for about 5 minutes before serving, and once again, your ham and potato is ready for family dinners and Thanksgiving. If you wanted some meatless goodness, though, you probably should try this next casserole. 54 Pearl Onion Broccoli Bake. Pearl onion broccoli bake is a certified Midwestern classic. For a casserole, the pearl onion broccoli bake is pretty light on ingredients, mostly consisting of 4 major ones: fresh broccoli florets, pearl onions, a healthy portion of cream cheese to lighten the dish up, and generous servings of soft breadcrumbs. Start out by giving the broccoli a light boil, and then lightly cook the pearl onions for about 4 to 5 minutes. Whisk in some flour, garlic powder, Salt and pepper into the mixture until smooth, and gradually whisk in the milk. Boil the whole thing for about 2 minutes, and then stir in some cream cheese. Pour the mixture over the broccoli and onions in the baking dish, and stir it all gently to coat. Sprinkle the whole thing with cheddar cheese and cover everything with a generous sprinkle of breadcrumbs. Finally, bake it for about half an hour until the topping is golden brown and it's ready to eat. Talking about classic Midwestern casseroles, our next dish was one of the most iconic of its era, 55 Swiss steak casserole. This casserole is referred to as the ultimate comfort food, perfect for family dinners or just a cozy meal on a calm evening. Swiss steak casserole is versatile, allowing you to add more vegetables like carrots or celery for extra flavor and nutrition. The slow cooking process ensures a melt-in-your-mouth texture, making this dish a family favorite that never goes out of style. To make this, the beef is seasoned thoroughly and properly heated on both sides until it's brown. In the same skillet, sauté onions, bell peppers, until softened. Cover tightly with a lid and preheat in the oven for about 2 hours.
Porcupine meatballs, a budget recipe that's been around since or before the Great Depression.
56 Porcupine meatball casserole. Porcupine meatball casserole is a comforting, family-friendly dish featuring tender meatballs mixed with rice, baked in a rich tomato-based sauce. The porcupine effect comes from rice grains poking out of the meatballs as they cook. Easy to prepare, it's a hearty meal, perfect for weeknight dinners or cozy gatherings. To make this forgotten dish at family gatherings, first, mix ground beef, uncooked rice, egg, onion, and seasonings, and form into meatballs. Place the mixture into a casserole dish and combine tomato sauce, broth, and spices. Pour these over the meatballs, cover and bake at 175 degrees Celsius for 45 minutes. Uncover, bake for 15 more minutes, and serve hot, garnished with parsley if you desire.
Y'all, it's Chris and Tammy with Collard Valley Cooks. Today we're making such a delicious breakfast casserole.
57. The breakfast casserole. Breakfast casserole, a hearty dish blending eggs, cheese, meat, and bread, gained peak popularity in 2015. Its versatility and ease made it a potluck favorite and brunch staple. From classic sausage and egg recipes to veggie-packed variations, breakfast casseroles united families, elevating the simple morning meal into a warm, comforting tradition. To recreate this mid-20th century beauty, layer cubed bread, cooked sausage, and shredded cheese. Whisk eggs with milk, salt, and pepper and pour it over the bread mixture, and then finally, bake the whole thing for half an hour, and voila! Enjoy your savory breakfast casserole.
Well, hello everybody! How you doing? I'm about to make some retro Johnny Marzetti.
58. Johnny Marzetti. Johnny Marzetti, a hearty casserole of pasta, ground beef, tomato sauce, and cheese, most popular in the 1960s and was named after its creator, Teresa Marzetti. The dish offered a budget-friendly, filling meal for families. It remains a nostalgic comfort food, often featured in potlucks and school cafeterias. To make this classic bowl of goodness, cook ground beef with chopped onion until browned. Drain excess fat, add some tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, and a pinch of Italian seasoning. Simmer it for 10 minutes. Cook some pasta, then combine it with the beef mixture. Top with shredded cheese and bake it for 25 minutes. There you have it. On to the next casserole.
I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy chicken ramen, ready in 20 minutes.
59. A chicken ramen noodle dump dinner. This creamy casserole was a low-budget way to take the leftover ramen noodles in your cupboard and turn them into a flavor-packed dish. To make it, start by putting some ramen noodle squares in a single layer covering the bottom of a baking dish. Then whisk together some cream cheese, milk, and a flavor packet from the ramen in a medium bowl. Then pour the mixture over the ramen. Scatter the chicken over the sauce and noodles, and then scatter some broccoli over that. Sprinkle some cheddar over that, and then spread the mixture evenly across the whole casserole. Bake it until the noodles are cooked through for about 30 minutes till the cream sauce is bubbly and the cheese melts. Our next dish was just as much as a low-budget lifesaver back in the day.
This week we have a beautiful summer recipe for you. This is the perfect season for this zucchini and tomato casserole.
60 Zucchini tomato casserole. Zucchini tomato casserole was a vegan's dream. At first sight, it looked a lot like ratatouille, with layers of sliced zucchini and tomatoes arranged in elaborate patterns, topped off with a generous serving of shredded cheese and a sprinkle of breadcrumbs. To make a classic zucchini tomato casserole, start by boiling the zucchini for about 8 minutes and then drain it. Butter a casserole dish and cover the bottom of it with sliced tomatoes, and then layer that with zucchini and onions. Season this layer with salt and pepper, sprinkle it with Parmesan cheese, and repeat repeat this step a few more times. When you've finally filled the casserole dish, top everything off with a lot of Parmesan cheese, and then bake everything for about 45 minutes. This dish was often served with a side of carbs, and fans of the treat will tell you it's best enjoyed with soy and onion dipping sauce. Children weren't really big fans of the veggie casserole from the jump, but it was incredibly popular with adults. Our next dish was more of a family favorite though.
And in this video, I'm going to show you how I make my southern baked macaroni and cheese casserole.
61 Macaroni Casserole. Macaroni casserole was exactly what it sounded like, a dish of baked pasta. It was a staple, most particularly in Northern European home cooking. It was commonly made with cheese or breadcrumbs sprinkled on top. Whipping it up is a pretty stress-free deal. Just boil macaroni in a large pot of salted water for about 5 minutes till it's barely done. Then drain it and set it aside. Whisk milk and egg together in a large bowl, then stir in cheese and butter. Next, place the parboiled macaroni in a prepared baking dish and pour the milk mixture over the macaroni, season it with salt and pepper, and stir until it is perfectly combined. Then just press the mixture evenly into the baking dish. Finally, bake the whole thing in a preheated oven for about half an hour till the top is browned. Next on the list is arguably another classic of French cuisine.
Today I'm going to be making veal orloff.
62 Veal Orloff. Veal orloff is a dish that was born at the intersection of Russian and French cuisine. It was invented in the 19th century by Urbain Dubois, a 19th century French chef employed by Prince Orloff, the Russian ambassador to France. The dish had an incredibly savory taste and an elegant flavor, consisting mostly of thinly sliced braised loin of veal, with duxelles and soubise layered between the slices, topped with Mornay sauce, and then browned in the oven. Veal orloff spurred the birth of a wave of similar dishes, which all generally go by the name French-style meat. These casseroles tend to replace the veal with cheaper meats, like beef or pork, or switch out the Mornay sauce for mayonnaise.
We are going to make a pasta dish that is called timbalo.
63 Timballo Spaghetti Casserole. This casserole put a modern twist on a classic Italian recipe. It wasn't the most popular back in its heyday, but it sure was beloved in a lot of American households. To make it, start by cooking spaghetti in boiling water, stirring it occasionally for about 12 minutes till it's cooked through but firm to the bite. Then, you can drain it. Next, stir the spaghetti, marinara sauce, diced chicken, onion, pepperoni, green pepper, mushroom pieces, and black olives together in a large bowl and transfer into a cast iron skillet. Top it off with a layer of mozzarella cheese and sprinkle with Parmesan cheese dot. Then finally, toss it in a preheated oven and let it bake for about 30 minutes till the casserole is bubbling, chicken is cooked through, and cheese topping is lightly browned.
Grandma's corn pudding was a great addition to her Thanksgiving table.
64 Grandma's Corn Pudding. Grandma's corn pudding was corn pudding with a homey treat. If you've tried out this casserole, then you know one thing about it. It tastes like a warm hug. Grandma's corn pudding was comfort food at its best. This creamy casserole is pretty easy to make and super versatile, coming out just as great with both whole kernel and cream-style corn. Overall, it makes for a fantastic breakfast. Here's how you make it. Start by whisking eggs lightly in a large bowl. Then add milk, some melted butter, sugar and cornstarch, and whisk the mixture till it properly combines. Stir it in drained corn and creamed corn till it fully blends in. Finally, pour the mixture into the casserole dish and bake it in an oven for about an hour till it's golden brown on top.
Today we're making an Amish breakfast casserole.
65 Cheesy Amish Breakfast Casserole. This dish isn't the most popular one out there, but it was a classic in the Midwest and even till today. Cheesy Amish breakfast is still enjoyed by many in the region. It's an incredibly versatile dish, and it keeps for days after baking, making it perfect for people with busy lifestyles. To make it, start by cooking some bacon and onions, continuously stirring for about 10 minutes until the bacon is evenly browned and draining it. Then take the bacon and onion out and in the same skillet stir in eggs, potatoes, cheddar cheese, cottage cheese, and Swiss cheese. Pour the mixture into a prepared baking dish, and finally, bake it all in an oven for about 45 minutes until the eggs are set and the cheese is melted. Then let it stand for about 10 minutes before serving, and it's ready to dig into. The next casserole on the list made life easier back in the good old days.
We are making a sausage breakfast casserole.
66 Sausage Breakfast Casserole. What better way to start off your day than with this simple dish? This meaty dish was a savory lifesaver. It's a shame that the sausage breakfast casserole isn't a more popular casserole. Here's how we make it. Add some sausage and break it up into small pieces with a wooden spoon. Cook the meat for about 6 to 8 minutes until no pink pieces remain. Add the bell pepper and white and light green parts of the green onion and cook it for 3 more minutes. Transfer the mixture to a plate for it to cool slightly. And in a large bowl, whisk together more eggs, heavy cream, mustard, hot sauce, maybe salt, black pepper, and some more green onions. Gently fold a few cups of cheese, the hash browns, and the sausage mixture into the egg mixture. Transfer the mixture to the baking dish and smooth it into an even layer. Then let it bake for 50 minutes. Then uncover the casserole and top it off with even more cheese. Then leave it to bake for about 15 minutes more and let it rest. Then it's ready to serve.
I am going to show you how to make a Monterey chicken and spaghetti.
67 Monterey spaghetti. This unique and delicious spaghetti casserole is the perfect dish for dinner parties. It might be meatless, but it's loaded with lots of creamy cheeses. The texture and flavors from the crispy fried onions take this pasta dish to the next level. Here's how it's made. First, cook and drain the spaghetti. Then combine together a mix of cheeses, sour cream, ricotta cheese, egg, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. After that, add in some spinach, fried onions, and spaghetti to the cheese mixture. Then cover it with foil and let it bake for half an hour. When that is done, top off the bake with extra fried onion and Parmesan cheese and let it bake for an extra 8 minutes. Then it's ready to dig into. Let's take a look at our next spaghetti bake.
I'm showing you how to make cheesy chicken spaghetti.
68 chicken spaghetti. Like most other spaghetti casseroles, chicken spaghetti is a rich, hearty dish, perfect for large servings. This meaty dish makes for great leftovers to eat the next day and has a savory flavor that will leave the whole family obsessed. Here is how we make it. Cook up some chicken and separate the meat. Cook the spaghetti in the chicken broth till it's done but firm. Then combine it with the rest of your ingredients to taste except cheddar cheese. Then place the mixture in a casserole pan and top it with extra cheddar. Then let it bake for about 45 minutes till it's ready. When it's done, you could either dig into it immediately or store it in the fridge for about 2 days. It's all up to you. Let's look at our next chicken casserole dish next.
Today, I'm going to teach you how to make the ultimate chicken pot pie.
69 chicken pot pie. It's pretty hard to imagine a casserole getting any more American than the chicken pot pie. This old-fashioned American casserole was the bedrock of every household and every mom's go-to dish when there wasn't much left at home. The recipe is fast and easy to prepare, and it appeals to people of all ages. A creamy chicken filling, enhanced with herbs and spices, and enveloped in a flaky pastry, delivering a truly comforting and fulfilling meal that brings warmth to both the stomach and soul. It was everywhere, and there was no getting away from its special taste. However, when it came down to it, the chicken pot pie became a victim of its own success, and people grew tired of always eating nothing but meaty and cheesy flavors all the time. Our next dish was another creamy, meaty masterpiece.
Today I'm sharing how to make my cheesy ground beef noodle casserole.
70 beef and cheddar casserole. Beef and cheddar casserole is a classic bake, a savory, meaty dish with a creamy flavor packed with cheese. Here's how we make it. Boil some spaghetti and then add in some noodles till it's firm, then leave it to drain. Toss it with some sour cream, Parmesan, and a pinch of salt. Then heat some olive oil and add some ground beef and cook, stirring for about 4 minutes till it's no longer pink. Add some bell peppers and scallions and cook for about 3 minutes. Add some tomato paste and toast it. Then sprinkle it with Italian seasoning. Then add diced tomatoes, stir it, and bring to a simmer. Then cook it for about 2 minutes till it's slightly thickened. Pour the beef mixture over noodles and sprinkle with the grated cheddar. Then bake for about 15 to 20 minutes till the cheese is melted and the edges are bubbling. Our next dish, just like beef and cheddar casserole, is also meaty perfection.
Chicken tortilla casserole is what's on the menu today. It's really delicious.
71 chicken tortilla casserole. Chicken tortilla casserole was another Tex-Mex classic. It was the best of both worlds, a mix of Mexican flavor with some classic American heartiness. Here's how to make it. Add the chicken to a large pot, season it with some salt, and let it boil for half an hour. Remove the chicken from the pot and set it aside. When it's cool enough to handle, shred the chicken and then set the broth aside. And then in a large saucepan, combine the reserved broth, chicken gravy, green chilies, onions, garlic, sour cream, cumin, salt, and pepper. Bring the mixture to a boil and then remove from the heat. Then spread the mixture into the prepared baking dish. Arrange a layer of tortillas over the mixture and then top with shredded chicken and a dash of cheddar. Repeat this layer 3 more times, ending with cheese. Spread any remaining mixture over the cheese and bake the whole thing for half an hour.
Today I'll be showing you how I make this nice and easy breakfast casserole.
72 Mexican egg casserole. This classic Mexican meal comes from the rural parts of Mexico and was often eaten by farmhands as a breakfast meal, allowing them to refuel after their early start to the day. The dish at its core is just a mix of flour and baking powder combined with eggs, Monterey Jack cheese, cottage cheese, tomatoes, chilies, onions, hot pepper sauce, oregano, cilantro, and seasoning sprinkled with some extra cheese and baked for about 45 minutes. It's a balanced enough treat for you to enjoy on its own, and it could also be served as a side to carbs with sauces like salsa. It was an incredibly convenient way to make use of leftover tortillas and eggs, other staple ingredients of the Tex-Mex diet. Regardless, this dish is still enjoyed by many households in Texas till today, even though this pales in comparison to how beloved this next treat is.
That turns these two comfort foods into one steaming hot casserole that's hard to resist.
73 Grilled Cheese and Tomato Casserole. Grilled cheese and tomato casserole was the perfect breakfast casserole dish. It was a cheesy, creamy dish with an edge of sweetness, perfect for any palate. To make it, start by buttering some slices of bread and then broil each side for a few minutes. Put 2 slices of the cheddar each on half of the pieces of bread and 1 slice of Swiss cheese each on the remaining slices. Return the baking sheet to the broiler for about 2 minutes until the cheese completely melted. Sandwich together each Swiss-topped bread slice with a cheddar-topped slice. Then sandwich the slices together and arrange them on the baking sheet. Scatter some Parmesan over the top layer and then top that off with tomatoes and season it with salt. Lastly, whisk together some mayonnaise, eggs, salt, and some black pepper in a bowl. Pour that over the tomatoes and sandwiches and bake it in foil for half an hour. Remove the foil and continue to bake it for an extra 15 minutes more. Garnish it with parsley and it's ready to serve.
And I'm making my grandmother's delicious scalloped corn.
74 Scalloped Corn Casserole. Salad scalloped corn casserole always brings nostalgic memories of time spent with family members back in the day. Combining canned sweet corn and creamy ingredients, you were sure to find this comforting, flavorful dish served at potlucks back in the day. The ideal American comfort food, it's a homey, bubbling, creamy casserole crowned with toasted, buttery cracker crumbs. To make this dish, prepare a white sauce by melting 3 tablespoons of butter in a saucepan, whisk in flour, and cook for about a minute. Gradually add milk, whisking to keep the sauce smooth, then simmer for 5 minutes. Season with salt, pepper, and a pinch of cayenne. Then, melt 2 tablespoons of butter and sauté chopped onion and bell pepper for about 5 minutes until softened. Add corn, season, and heat for an additional 2 minutes. Combine the corn mixture with the white sauce and beaten egg, then transfer it to the baking dish. Top with crushed crackers and dot with small pieces of butter. Bake it for half an hour and it's ready to serve. Next on the list is another amazing casserole dish that people back in the good old days couldn't get enough of.
I'm making a cornbread chili casserole bake.
75 Cornbread Chili Casserole. For the last dish on the list, we'll be looking at another Tex-Mex classic. So how do we make this amazing dish? Sauté some onions and ground beef for about 10 minutes till the beef is cooked through. Make sure to drain off any excess fat. Stir in some salsa, corn, vegetable broth, chili powder, cumin, and a dash of salt and pepper. Then transfer the mixture in layers to a baking dish. In a large bowl, mix together some corn muffin, mix with milk, and spread it thinly over the chili mixture. Bake the batter till it's golden brown for about 30 to 40 minutes. And that's it. All that's left is to serve it with the cheddar and sour cream. And that's all for this video. Which of these casserole dishes will you be trying out? Do let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. See you in the next video.